Video 96, Ancient Lives of the Queen of England, explained by the ancient spirit Tralaka. Now this goes way into ancient times, starting with 14 lives on a few of the Draco systems of planets. 8 lives as a snake humanoid, a variable of it that is, standing at 8 feet 9 inches, which is a bit tall for some of the different variable species of the snake humanoids, females in those Draco systems of planets. Now she enjoyed very much supplying needed parts for the scattered private military in their individual little war zones in a very long struggle with the different factions of the Draco dragons, who believed in keeping their home turf of their area of the living universe as their own. You can do business with them. You can even settle in their area as long as it's peaceful. But the old Draco dragons aren't going to allow you to take any of their turf because of their extremely long and proud history. Now, in those 8 lives as a female snake humanoid, she was a very dark green in skin complexion. Her eyes were a deep milky green, kind of freaky looking. They could mesmerize you when you looked into them, with the triple closing eyelids that closed at much faster rate. She could swim through virtually any surface liquids and still see quite clearly when coming out of it. She had a very long snake humanoid tongue that reached far outside her mouth with 4 points at its end. Beings such as her were well known that they could sense in the winds nearly 5 miles of changes and movements of different beings, both animal and humanoid, and everything in between. On her back, she had 5 rows of 3-inch tall rigid scales, an 1.5 inches thick at the tops, which were sharpened to razor points all the way up and down. The front of her legs were 2 rows of 3-inch tall scales. Once again, they were sharpened to razor points. It was the front of her arms, though, and the back of her hands that were unusual. For the 2-inch tall scales were sharpened to pointed tips like a sword. How unusual. Yet every 1.5 to 2 inches was another point. The reasoning for this, for battle defense and sneak attack, in which the females of that variable version of snake humanoids would leap quickly upon their surprise prey and rip back and forth their prey's head between their arms and the back of their hands, quickly shredding the life out of their prey in only a few seconds, without even so much as a sound escaping from the prey to warn others. This gained both fear and dread, lots of that dread, from the colonists in ancient times, from colonizing around areas near Draco planets that had that particular variable of snake humanoid females living on or next to, which the long rumor was that the female scales hides were so strong it took near a 50 caliber shell or 20 millimeter laser to kill them. This, though, was surprisingly a very well thought out false propaganda program generated by the males of that species, in which then they would hack into the frequencies of communication in their area of the Draco systems of planets, the ships coming and going, doing trade and going back and forth, which generated great revenue paid by those needed to, paid by those needed to trade in those areas for protection money, which, though it was propaganda, this went on for a long time, And it sounds like the snake humanoid mafia. Horrible thing. Now, in the other 6 lives in the Draco system of planets, she was a Draco humanoid at 9 feet tall, very black, deeply set eyes that glowed unnaturally in the dark, which had a tendency of freaking people out. Her skin was a mid-brown, very tight scale, 3/4 inch skin, though flowed very smoothly. Kind of unusual. Her hands had 3 fingers and a mid-position thumb. Very quick movement she could, and others like her, over the controls of a fighter or cargo crafts in which they flew. Though usually she was piloting cargo ships through rough areas of space, she preferred when she got calls for her talents as a fighter pilot, wherever it may be. The next 3 lives would be on Tiamat, otherwise known as Maladek. 9-foot-tall draconian humanoid in form. Very, very pleasant in the female form of view, if you know what I mean. She kept herself as she was a spy for the Tiamat very, very corrupt, evil government. Though worked a business for weapons trade within an associate who was not of their same. That her associate was more of a reptilian, a variant of a humanoid that looked much more reptilian than humanoid. However, many times though, her spy job would take her to other planets, such as the 2 large ones that used to be past the orbit of Pluto, as well as very deep into the Draco, at that time, Empire, and even to areas of the old mid-sized Greys who had bases in many planetary systems and still do. So she was so clever, she could sell your own shoes back to you while trading the entire history of you to other clients who were paying better. There was no safety zone in her circles of powerful influence. Very, very efficient. She then had 9 lifetimes on the planets that used to be the past the orbit of Pluto. 5 on one and 4 on the other. Though they both had equal in species that were of evil intentions, while some others were either power military hungry or high science control of citizens and captured peaceful traders who didn't know what they were getting into when they came around that area of space by those 2 planets. Now, in those 9 lives, in each life, though, she was a rather unique variation of species. There was quite a few others like her, and still today exist in the living universe, for she had snake and draconian and reptilian DNA in a humanoid form. In which she was 8 feet 2.5 inches, I should say, tall, though humanoid, as I've said, in the sense of having 2 arms and legs and 1 head. But this is where some of that stopped. She had the mindset of with the speed of the draconian blood, in the great speed to figure things out, including math and formulas, with the conniving darkness of a few of the known reptilian species are known to be, and still are. And the silky smooth talk of some of the snake humanoid and non-snake beings that have long ages of reputations of being the smooth talkers. This is her 9 lives, though. Here was 9 lives, as I said, as a double spy, working for the reptilians and also working for the unknowing Draco humanoids. in which she traded information seamlessly. It was genius work, absolutely genius level work she was doing, seamlessly trading back and forth information while having a side job of being a merchant of exciter gas medicine that also came in the form of gum, tablets, and taffy. Well, taffy-like. All highly illegal on many worlds, even yet today, because for what the end results create. A being, no matter what form of humanoid or non-humanoid, that is a fully mind-wasted being that is so very, very easily retrained to do whatever the desire of the being seeking to control others are doing. Even yet today, in parts of the living universe, versions of those roll. It is situations such as this that brings different versions of the Alliance warriors to planets to work while trying to blend in normally with the populations, to find the sources of the exciter medicines and to remove them from the planet, as well as filing very complicated forms with local higher council level beings that govern different parts of the living universe in their different levels, so that the snake beings who are listed on those forms, the inner spirits of them, to be removed from that planetary system when they are done with that life, and to put through lifetimes, usually being 3 to 5 lifetimes, sometimes 8, so the greater masses of the spirit beings are that where they used to be are now having more peaceful lives and are not affected, while those who are being removed are being retrained and being re-put the systems in more isolated areas of the living universe so that they can be properly taken care of. Now, the living universe here is always doing a proportion of 3 different things. But please, my friends, as always, my viewers, grow to expand your minds. Understand that change truly is a constant in the living universe. Though in individual lives it may seem faster, the living universe is always working in proportions to 3 different things: creating, maintaining, and recycling. As variables of cycles of many variables of different species flow within their own changes, within dimensions, frequencies, and vibratory worlds and realms within dimensions. All this flowing around at the same time. Good night.